we've been RVing and traveling for years, long before we had this YouTube channel. And one of the things that's always top of mind is safety, no matter whether you're in a tent or a big Class A. And, usually most people think of the major things like fire, carbon monoxide poisoning, and those are always good things to keep in mind. But there's also 3 other major things that you really need to be aware of and be prepared for when you are traveling.
And that has to do with whether you're in a travel trailer or if you're in a motorhome. And those sort of 3-legged stool of safety, as I kind of think of it, is your tires, your electrical, and your propane. And you need to be ready to deal with anything that might happen with those, both to protect you and your family, but also your rig. And for years, we have had a tire pressure monitoring system, which we have used.
It's come in handy because we have had at least 2 tire blowouts on our travels. So
and we've had a few close calls where we've noticed a tire is getting hot or a tire is losing pressure, and so we've been able to use that to protect us and our rig. We've had a surge guard. We use the one by Southwire, and we have had situations where either we've had power outages while we've been plugged in, or we've plugged into places either at a campground or at friends' houses and discovered that the electrical wasn't really as clean. It wasn't clean power.
No, and we've had issues. I mean, we almost burned we were at Harvest Host even one night and had an issue and, almost fried our circuits. After they promised us it was, good and clean. So thank gosh for that, surge guard, because that really has saved us a couple times.
It has. And now we've addressed the 3rd leg of the stool, which is propane. Now, modern propane canisters, because you were asking me about this, or propane tanks, have systems in them where if something catastrophic were to happen to that tank, it's got a shut-off valve. So the valve is going to shut down. You're not going to have a propane leak unless, I suppose, it were to really open up. Then you have much bigger issues if you've got an exploding propane tank. But in terms of a leak, a fast leak, the problem, though, is that doesn't do anything if, say, you have a propane line that has a problem somewhere else in your rig, and you have so many now, whether it's refrigerators or stoves or furnaces that all are connected to propane. You have outside connections now, so people can hook up grills and fire pits and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of propane hoses around different rigs. And if you were to develop a break in one of those, the propane tank doesn't know that, and it's just going to keep pumping propane, and it's going to keep coming out. So we've been in touch with the folks at GasStop. They've created a system that you attach to your propane tank, and it monitors the pressure, is essentially how it works. And if it detects that there is a massive pressure change, it shuts down the flow of propane. And that is just a huge safety feature that I think everybody should be looking at getting.
Like a lot of the outdoor stuff on the trailer, I don't usually get too involved in that. So Ari did most of the installing, but I was really curious about how it worked and all the mechanics of it. And was it easy to install? And does the Airstream make it more challenging? Because we've found a number of things that are different on Airstreams versus other travel trailers. So we're going to go up front now, and Ari's going to walk us through and show you how easy it was to install this and how exactly it actually works.
It was a super easy install. It's a 1-person job. I never actually had to holler for you to hold anything or help me with it. And so, yeah, let's go take a look up front. As I said, installation of GasStop is super simple. If you can change a propane tank on your RV, then you can install GasStop. Essentially, all you have to do is you take off the connector that you have for your hoses that are there now, and you swap it over to special hoses that GasStop gives you because they're braided hoses. They're the metal hoses instead of the rubber ones, which are also going to last longer than the ones that probably came with your RV. And let me show you down here the components of this unit. This is the unit right here for GasStop. And essentially all you're doing is you are connecting the GasStop between the opening for your propane valve and the hoses and your regulator for your propane that go into your rig. And this system right here is what is telling you what's going on. Now, this is showing that propane is low and there's no pressure. That's because this propane tank happens to be off. The other one shows high pressure. But then what you do is you just connect all your hoses up together, you attach it to your propane tank, and then you have to do what they call priming. So you're going to prime the GasStop by pressing this 5 or 6 times down in succession, and then it will show you what your current pressure is for your propane. If this monitoring dial here, this pressure system realizes that there is a significant change in the pressure, it will shut off the flow of the propane. And that's where the safety component comes in, because you're not going to have propane just blowing out of any open line anywhere. The other thing I like about this, though, is remember I mentioned you prime the system and you wait about 5 minutes, and if your needle hasn't moved, everything is good and solid. If the needle moves even just slightly, that means that you have some sort of a leak in your system somewhere. And people have used gas stops to determine if there is a leak, and if so, is it in their RV or is it in the one next door? Because propane travels pretty far and you can smell it. It's a very distinct smell, but it's hard tracking it down. I know I've talked to a few people, and one of the fun pastimes is watching people back their trailers in at a campground. The other one is people trying to figure out if they've got a propane leak, because they're all walking around their rig sniffing and trying to figure out where it's coming from. But this will tell you if it's your RV or a neighbor's RV, and that's a really nice safety feature as well, to stay on top of issues and to get ahead of them before they become a major problem. Jesse mentioned about installation and whether Airstream made it more complicated, which as Airstream owners, we've discovered it's a little different sometimes. And there is an extra component for Airstream that you need to think about, and that is because of the covers that Airstream puts over their propane tanks. There's not enough room to put a straight connector on between the propane valve, the GasStop, and your hose. It's just, there's not enough room. It's too tight. So GasStop has come up with a 90-degree elbow that you can use. Let me show you down here. So down here where GasStop is connecting to the propane hose is this little brass piece here that's a 90-degree connector, and that worked perfectly, and it has worked perfectly, and it gives it just enough bend so you can fit all of the propane hose inside the propane cover on the Airstream.
Peace of mind is especially important in RV because there's just so many different systems, and this is literally your home. So just like you'd have safeguards at home, it's important to have safeguards for the RV. So whether that's your electrical system, your propane system, or your tire pressure monitoring system, make sure that you have all of the components that you need to keep you and your family safe.
They are worthy investments. And if you go to our friends at Techno RV, and we are affiliates for Techno RV because we love those guys. They know what they're doing, they sell good products, and they back up their sales with information. So if you ever need help with an installation, or you have a problem with a product, they are going to be there for you. And I'll put a link in the description below where you can get to all of the products they sell there. But all the 3 safety items you mentioned are sold there, plus a ton more. So go check out our friends at Techno RV. Look at the GasStop. I think people are dealing with tire pressure more, and they're more aware of you need to have an electrical system, a surge protector, but a lot of people still aren't aware that they need to protect their propane system, and that the GasStop exists. So go check it out, and safe travels to all of you. In the meantime, keep on trekking.
And we'll see you out there.